What's up, everyone? This is Clock Management. I'm your host, Justin, and as always, I am joined by Perry.
Justin, it's Friday, man. I'd I'd buy you a drink, but I'd just be jealous of the glass.
And I mean, COVID restrictions and all.
Right, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
That too.
Oh, man. So,
Man, that one I really like that one, and then you had to go and bring COVID up. I
I'm
was living in
sorry.
my own
Yeah,
little world here.
I ruined it. I know. Just like COVID
That's why
does.
COVID. Yep, yep. Well, at least it was on brand.
Yeah. So, we're at week 11. We're going to be doing our starts sits as we always do on this episode, but we're going to be doing it in a little bit of a different way. We talked about it, and
Abbreviated.
yeah, so instead of going through every matchup and talking about a bunch of players that you already know you should be starting, we're going to go a little bit deeper and talk about some players that you might not know you should be starting and explain why you should. And then a couple players that you should not be starting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Cool.
first, make sure you guys click that subscribe button and then leave a comment so you can be entered to win an autographed jersey. This month's, because we do this every month, another reason why you should be subscribed. This month's is James Conner. So all you have to do is subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment under the video, and it'd be cool if you also went and followed us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, any of those. That's cool too. But YouTube gets you entered to win that jersey.
Sweet. Should we jump into some news, Justin?
Let's do it.
Cool. So we talked about Drew Brees last episode, his broken ribs and a punctured lung. He is headed to short-term IR, so Drew Brees will be out for a little while. We all expected Jameis Winston to be the starter. Turns out we were all wrong. Taysom Hill is slated to start the game, and if you guys didn't know, Taysom Hill in a lot of league formats, a lot of websites that run fantasy football have him either as a quarterback and a tight end, or a quarterback and a wide receiver, or all three, which means you could be playing a second quarterback in a one quarterback league. I highly recommend you do this.
Thank you.
Now, Justin is doing this in our league.
Yes,
And I kid you not, Justin, this is not made up. I'm not writing this just as a bit for this show. As I was typing in Taysom Hill's name while laying in bed this morning drinking coffee in our league to add him, I got an alert that said Justin has added Taysom Hill. And then
the great part,
I looked at the lineup and Justin is playing Taysom Hill against me.
yes, that is accurate.
Yeah. So that happened, but I got him in the Dynasty League.
Yeah,
So
I saw that. By the time I made it to that one, you had already snagged him.
as soon as I saw it happen, I literally immediately went to the other league and grabbed him because I was like, this is some BS.
Are we playing
Now,
in that league? I hope
no,
not.
I don't know. That would be hilarious though. Now here's my take on the Taysom Hill situation. I'm curious to see what you think, Justin, but
Yeah.
I don't think Taysom Hill is like a slam dunk here.
No.
I do think that he'll be out there, right? He'll get a fair amount of snaps. I think that in terms of like, hey, should you start him or DJ Chark? I would start Taysom Hill. I think Taysom Hill will probably be more effective than somebody like DJ Chark. But I also think that there's a really big chance that Jameis Winston gets a ton of work as well in this game.
Yeah, or I mean, if you have the ability, so I completely agree with you on that. I think this is going to be more of a quarterback by committee situation.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But if you have the ability to put him in at the tight end position with how abysmal the tight end position has been in this,
Absolutely.
like if
Yeah.
you use ESPN out there, go snatch up Taysom Hill and put him in as your tight end, unless you're the Travis Kelce owner.
If he rushes for one touchdown or throws for one touchdown, he's already a tight end one.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to get very close to the end zone multiple times here. So, yes, definitely. Like, I could see Taysom Hill as the number 1 or number 2 tight end on the week, but he'll only score, even if he only scores like 15 points.
Yeah, I have
So,
him projected as my number 1 tight end for this week in the if you're putting him in that tight end scoring.
you just never know with Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. I foresee this not being a long-term thing. I think a lot of these websites may end up switching it, depending on how this week goes. I don't know. I don't know how that all works out, but we'll see. We'll see. Don't feel bad about doing it. If you're doing it, if your league allows it, if the website allows it, go do it, man.
Yeah,
You got to win.
after I actually asked a few people, I'm like, should I feel bad about this? I'm like, I don't know. Like it
Yes.
feels dirty.
Yes, you should feel bad.
I mean, I'll feel bad as long as I get the win.
You yoinked him right out from under me.
That makes me feel better about this.
I had Taysom spelled out, and there he was, and I go to hit the blue button of add, and it's Co-Video killed the radio star, has added Taysom Hill, and I was like, this is malarkey. anyways, yeah, that's funny. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that makes me so happy too.
Sitting in bed, drinking coffee, watching YouTube, and it's like, ooh, Taysom Hill's the starter.
I was driving to work and pulled over to do that.
Okay. Davante Adams is expected to play this week. There was some question that he would not play. He did not practice on Wednesday or Thursday, but now he is expected to play. And my analysis here is if Davante Adams is playing, he's in your lineup, whether or not you're concerned about any like limited work with an injury. He's just that good. Deandre Swift has been ruled out for week 11. This is unfortunate, man. Deandre Swift has been looking very good, but he has a concussion. He will not be playing this week. Joe Mixon has been ruled out for week 11. I think we kind of expected this. He's missed the last couple weeks. As soon as we got through their bye and he was still out, I kind of expected this to be a little bit more long-term. So Giovanni Bernard, he's like a solid RB2 this week.
Yeah. Someone was asking me if I expected him to blow up against Washington. Washington's defense isn't as bad as you would think.
I think blow up, there's a possibility he scores more than one touchdown, right? I think that's always a possibility for any starting running back. But I don't think he's going to have like a huge yardage total.
Yeah.
Like a lot of yards after carry or yards after contact, stuff like that. I think he'll probably be just short of 100 total yards and probably find the end zone once, right? So he'll have a very serviceable day. I think you'll be pretty happy with him. Maybe he finds the end zone twice, and then
you'll be very happy. Yeah.
And then the Thursday night game last night, Kyler Murray in the first quarter took a pretty big hit from Carlos Dunlap, and looks like it's a sprained AC joint. You could kind of tell it was bothering him pretty much the whole game last night. I don't want to put like one thing down as to why the Seahawks won, but there's a decent chance that that's why the Seahawks won. You could just kind of tell that Kyler Murray was not 100% after that. Apparently he's expected to play in week 12, right? So his week 11's already happened, so this doesn't really matter for this week, but it's something to monitor for the next few days if you are the Kyler Murray owner.
And I will say that, along with all the penalties that their team got, is probably why they lost.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, there's the news.
Oh, nice. So now we got some news no one cares about. So first piece of news no one cares about. There's a report. So the Washington football team made it in here twice.
No, that checks out.
Yeah. Daniel Snyder is blocking the Washington minority owners from a $900 million sell of the team.
Is that because... No. Never mind.
Yeah, there's all sorts of
Terrible.
other stuff that could go into that, but I'll get to the next piece about the Washington football team. So the Washington football team, as per the president, Jason Wright, says that the front runner for because the Washington football team was supposed to be their temporary name for this season. Moving to next season, they're going to be choosing a new name. The front runner as of right now is the Washington football team. We called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've been calling them the football team in Washington.
Yeah.
For a year now, over a year. So
yeah. Before it was cool.
It's still not cool.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, still before it was cool. Even if you're doing it now, it's still before it was cool.
It's just like a lot of things that I do. Like I've been golfing like my whole life. It's still not cool. I play a lot of World of Warcraft. It's still not cool. So
this just falls right in line.
Yeah, just par for the course. People are really surprised I got a job making whiskey because that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, you're gonna have to quit.
Yeah, I should learn to stay in my lane, but yeah.
Have you thought about accounting?
No. I am not good at math. Anyways, thinking about health insurance.
Right. There's other things out there. We'll find something for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of not cool things out there that I could do.
Yeah, whiskey. Come on, Perry.
Yeah, but the Washington football team is definitely.
Yeah, have you thought about working for the Washington football team? Because that is not cool.
That is super not cool.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Next thing for news no one cares about. The Eagles signed Jordan Howard to the practice squad.
I saw that.
I'm actually kind of shocked it's the practice squad.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. I think he sees the field this season.
Yeah, I would agree. Miles Sanders has been banged up.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, that's a possibility, and he's obviously familiar with that offense. But it won't be this week, so no worry this week.
Well, yeah, that's good. But I am a little worried. I mean, yeah, Miles Sanders gets back healthy, starts playing well, and then Jordan Howard comes in and steals touchdowns.
Yeah, some goal line work.
Right in, yeah. Oh, yeah. Justin, while I've got you here, we just received a trade offer. We get Tim Patrick for a 2021 second-round pick. You interested?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass. Though I did read recently the Broncos are looking for a new quarterback, which is intriguing. Yeah.
Okay. So what other news? I mean, that fit right into news nobody cares about.
Yeah. Last one, the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Deandre Hopkins. So this was from last week. He caught the what is being deemed as the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Afterwards, he put out a tweet that said, "Best meme gets a signed jersey," which obviously had a big response, right?
Right.
Do you know who won that signed jersey?
Was it Kyler Murray?
No. Close.
Well, tell me.
It was Tom Brady.
Oh my God.
Because of course it was.
Of course. He's just too good at everything, man.
Yeah. Like, come on, Tom. Let someone else win something for once. I mean, maybe in the season.
You know what? I mean, that makes me think of like when people were like, well, the Patriots always win. They should let somebody else win. I've always been like, that's just bullcrap.
Yeah,
like, weird argument.
I agree with you when it comes to the football take, but the autographed jersey, come on.
I know. That one, yeah. But you just made me think of that, of like people being like, they always make it. It's not fair. And it's like, what do you mean?
It is absolutely fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, except when they were cheating. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
All right.
But that's all the news that nobody cares about.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, nobody cares that Taysom Hill
And
was yoinked from me.
I did not mess up the graphics this week as promised.
Wow. Wow. Well, there's always next week. So
Yep, yep.
let's talk about some starts of the week, Justin.
Let's do
We
it.
yeah, we've picked out one start at each position. Um, I'll start off with quarterback. My
Yep.
start of the week is Mr. Ben Roethlisberger.
Nice. He was on my short list.
Nice, and he's not a short guy, so
Yeah, he's
uh,
actually big. Big
6'5",
Ben.
6'5". Apparently 240 pounds. I think he's bigger than that personally.
Yeah, that's probably still from his combine.
uh, yeah, Ben Roethlisberger. He's been quite good the last 2 weeks. 25 points in week 9, 29 points in week 10, and he's got Jacksonville
Yeah.
this week. And all three wide receivers appear to be healthy. We'll talk about one of them in a little bit. Oh, spoiler alert. Yeah, I really like Ben Roethlisberger this week. He's probably on a lot of waivers right now. At least half the waivers. I don't have his exact percentage of ownership, but yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, if you are streaming quarterback, he's a great stream and possibly just somebody to hold on to. They do have Baltimore in week 12. I'm a little worried about that one, but then we've got the team in Washington, Buffalo, Cincy, and Indy to finish the season. So there's two teams there where you're a little bit scared, Indy being one of them. But yeah, this week, really like Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback. I think he's could be top 5 pretty easily.
So I feel similar about the quarterback that I'm about to talk about, that he could be a top 5. The difference is he hasn't been playing that well. Uh, his passing numbers have been horrible, and that's Cameron Newton.
Who?
Cam Newton. Yeah, it's not actually short for Cameron. I just added that on there for a theatrical effect.
It worked.
Thank you. But no, his passing numbers have been horrible. But even with those passing numbers, he still has managed to be a QB1 multiple weeks with these horrible passing numbers. Due to the fact that when they get to the goal line, he still calls his own number and he scores rushing touchdowns. He does still rush, not near as much as he did in that magical year in Carolina.
15.
Yeah. But he still, is getting it done in that department. And then this week, he's going against the Texans defense, which is the 24th ranked defense. And against the pass, they're actually worse than the Jets. They give up more yardage than the Jets in this season. So something to keep in mind. I think that he could actually be a very sneaky start. And if you're streaming quarterback, he got dropped. I had the percentage. I don't know what I did with it, but he got dropped in a bunch of leagues throughout this season because he hasn't been that great. But with this matchup, I think there's a good chance that you could snatch him up.
Yeah. Fun fact here. Cam Newton has 3 times as many rushing touchdowns as passing touchdowns this season.
Yeah.
Cam Newton has 9 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns.
That's awesome.
Meanwhile, he has 7 interceptions.
Yep.
Yeah. No, he's playing pretty poorly. But I mean, he rushes for 30 yards, a touchdown, throws for 200. I mean, you're going to have a decent day out of him for sure. And that would be against a good team. So Houston's pretty terrible on defense. So yeah, that's a good start. But I like mine more.
I do think that Big Ben is more owned though as well.
True.
So
true.
I would agree. I think that Big Ben is probably the better start, and Cam Newton is probably a little bit not as good of a start, but you have a better chance of him being available. So
yeah. All right, talk about some running backs here. My running back start of the week is J.D. McKissick.
Nice.
I love J.D. McKissick. J.D. McKissick has 30 targets in the last 2 weeks. That's insane. 30 targets in the last 2 weeks. Any wide receiver that had 30 targets in the last 2 weeks, we'd be talking as a number one, like a top 12 wide receiver. So he's got Cincinnati this week. Not scared of Cincinnati at all. He'll probably get around 5 to 8 carries. That's not really what I'm concerned about. I don't expect him to get a bunch of carries, but I do expect him to get a lot of targets. I think we're looking at, again, double-digit targets here. You'd have to be in a PPR league here or a half-point PPR league for this really to work out, but J.D. McKissic definitely should be owned. If he's not owned, you need to get him. Like, he is a must-own player, and then he's a borderline start every week. He's got Cincinnati, Dallas the next 2 weeks. That's 2 starts right there for me. So, I really like J.D. McKissic going forward, and I like him this week a lot against Cincinnati.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really like McKissic. I think they love those dump off passes to him. And
Alex Smith, man, was all about it last week. Alex Smith coming back from this big injury seems to have found like this little safety dump off situation with him, and it's working out very well.
Yeah. The guy I'm going to talk about is Caitlyn Bellage. Mm-hmm. So Bellage, obviously you got Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler not playing there. So he's developed a role there, which has been great. And he also is going up against the Jets, who have allowed the 7th most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. So, I mean, that's a great option to have when you're throwing a running back in there going against the Jets. Also, I mean, Josh Kelly is there. I'm pretty sure you're on board with me where Josh Kelly's just not getting it done there. Caitlyn Bellage had 73% of the snaps against Miami, and he's more effective with them. So I think you'll continue to see him getting a solid workload and continue to be more effective with them. And against the Jets, that's a great thing to have. So I think he's a solid start if you're in need of a running back this week. Now, I don't think he's going to break into those running back 1 numbers, but I think that he's going to definitely be in that running back 2 range.
Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you, Caitlyn Bellage or CeeDee Lamb?
I go with Bellage this week.
Good, because I dropped Bellage for Lamb and you picked up Lamb.
Yeah, I know. He was on. I forgot who I dropped. I'm not starting Lamb this week though. Yeah, either.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm starting Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. Yeah. Okay. My wide receiver. I feel like it's an obvious one, and maybe I feel kind of bad about it, but I gotta go with Justin Jefferson against Dallas. And the reason I have to go with Justin Jefferson, even though I know pretty much anybody that owns Justin Jefferson is starting him, this is my victory lap on Justin Jefferson. I've been talking about Justin Jefferson landing in the best spot and that he was going to be a very good rookie wide receiver since he got drafted. And I just wanted one time to be able to remind everybody that I've been toting Justin Jefferson for the better part of a year now. But he gets to play Dallas this week. Dallas is absolutely terrible against a Chicago defense that's definitely better than the Dallas defense. He had 8 receptions for 135 yards last week. So he had a couple slow weeks there versus Green Bay and Detroit. So maybe it's not quite as obvious. Some people might be wondering here, but this is my public service announcement to you. Justin Jefferson is a week in, week out start. Every week he is in your starting lineup. And you should have a very good outcome this week against Dallas.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Justin Jefferson, he killed it last week too. He almost made your wife beat me in our home league.
Oh my gosh, that was so close.
Oh man, that was a wild game.
That was.
That last, I went in so confident I was going to win, and then I was not confident by the halftime.
She couldn't watch the game. She kept yelling at me from the other room to like, am I still winning?
That's
Barely.
yeah, I'm like, oh my god, just watching through my hands. That last run from Dalvin Cook put me over by
Right.
0.12 or something like that.
Insane. Yeah.
But yeah,
Justin Jefferson, no.
um,
Put him must be in.
yeah, my wide receiver. I'm a piggyback on Perry's quarterback, which is easy because I mean he's huge. Uh,
Giant.
and that's Deontay Johnson.
I mean, it's easy because he's huge, but it's kind of hard to get up there because he's so tall.
Yeah, and once you're there, I mean, he can carry 3 or 4 wide receivers at times.
Right, which he's been doing.
Yeah.
Go. This is working out.
Yeah, that's Deontay Johnson, wide receiver for Pittsburgh, obviously. So he is back. He's healthy. He's going into week 11 against the Jaguars, a defense that sucks, especially against wide receivers. They're the 31st defense in pass defense. That's horrible. In case you didn't know, that means there's only one team worse than them. That's how math works. There's 32 teams. But he's the number one wide receiver on this team. Whenever he's on the field, he is the number one. Juju Smith-Schuster is no longer their number one receiver. It's Deontay, and he proves it every time he's on the field and healthy. So, I mean, Big Ben will. People are going to get other targets. You know, there's going to be plenty to eat out there with the Jaguars defense. But you need, if you're thinking about whether you're starting Deontay Johnson or not, the answer is yes, you are. He's going to kill it this week. I think he'll be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy, probably top 10. I have him right on the cusp of top 10 numbers. So
Yeah, I've got him and Juju pretty close together. I think they're both starts this week. Actually, all 3 of them are starts this week. In the expert consensus rankings, they are literally 11, 12, 13. All 3 of them. So, honestly,
with Claypool?
Yes.
I'm not quite that bullish on Claypool. I mean, even I have Juju a couple spots further back. Claypool, I have even a couple spots further than that, but I have Deontay ahead of all of them.
I would have accepted the Steelers wide receivers as your start of the week.
Yeah, right. Just all of them. Just get them out there.
I think all 3 it'll either be all 3 have a pretty decent day, each of them, or 2 of them have big days and one of them disappears. But I don't think I want to play the game where I try and figure out which one. I'm just going to, if I own one of them, they're in my lineup.
Yeah.
So, okay. Tight ends. This is the most disgusting tight end landscape I've ever seen, and you are not allowed to say Taysom Hill.
I know. It's funny because I actually have him up at the top of mine, and then I wrote about an actual tight end.
Yeah. So yeah, my tight end start of the week is Haydenhurst, and it's a floor play. Haydenhurst has a pretty solid floor in the tight end world. They were on bye last week. Going into the bye, Haydenhurst was the 5th overall tight end on the year. Meanwhile, he's only scored 3 touchdowns all season. He has not surpassed more than 72 yards in a game. That's how bad tight end landscape.
Yeah, I was gonna say that speaks more about this tight end landscape than it does him.
Right, but in the last 3 games, he's received 7, 7, and 8 targets. He's gotten over 60 yards a game. That's a really solid floor. New Orleans is the number 7th worst team against tight ends. So there's already kind of a little boost there. You know, we could be looking at like 7 receptions for like 60 to 75 yards, somewhere in there, and a high likelihood that he finds the end zone, or at least a decent likelihood that he finds the end zone. So even if he doesn't find the end zone, you're still getting a really nice floor out of Haydenhurst this week. And a lot of people are wondering, do I drop Haydenhurst because he's not this big flashy tight end that could blow up huge games? I don't recommend you drop Haydenhurst. With coming from somebody that's been trying to stream tight ends all season, don't get rid of Haydenhurst. Just ride the mediocrity. because you could get some really ugly games out of pretty much anybody else that's not named Travis Kelce, or
Yeah.
even Darren Waller's kind of
Yeah.
borderline this week. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So since you wouldn't let me go with Taysom Hill, my start of the week is Travis Kelce. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Get out.
uh, no, so I went the opposite way, Perry, because you went with the safe floor. I went with the ceiling play, and I'm swinging for the fence on this one. And there is a pretty good likelihood that I miss on this one. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, but it's the tight with the tight end landscape. I'm willing to take that chance if I don't have a good tight end.
Come on, man, get it out.
I know it hurts. It hurts. Like I don't want to just jump into it because saying the name. It's Chris Herndon.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know it invokes vomit into your mouth when you say it. That's why I was avoiding saying the name.
It's pronounced Chris Herndon.
Nice. But the reason why it invokes that feeling is because if you had started him the last 2 weeks, you regretted it more than if you did not start a tight end. He actually has negative points over the last 2 weeks.
This is a deep cut, man. I don't know where you're coming from this one.
Yeah, right. So also this whole season he has been horrible. But the reason why I'm saying that you start him this week is he's going against the Chargers, who have a pretty good defense, but they have not been doing good against tight ends. The last 2 weeks, they've given up a touchdown both weeks. Over the last 9 games they played, they've given up 7 touchdowns to the tight end position. So I'm just hoping for that tight end by putting, or that touchdown by putting him in that tight end lineup spot. If like I said, if I don't have a good tight end play, that's what I'm throwing in there to try and stream this tight end this week and hopefully get it. Now, I will say if Haydenhurst is available, get Haydenhurst. You're gonna feel a lot more comfortable with having him in your lineup. But if you're in a more like a deeper or more like very competitive league where that may not be your options, you can throw Herndon in there and maybe you look like a genius at the end of this week. This is definitely my least confident player I have talked about maybe ever.
My name is Perry and I do not approve this message. I'm just saying.
Which I don't blame you for. Like I said, this is my least, I'm not going to tell you with 100% confidence that I think he is going to be.
I'm gonna stop you, man. You're going to talk yourself out of Chris Herndon right now.
And no, it doesn't feel good. But I think that he has a good chance of finding the end zone better than a lot of tight ends out there. So I think that's a good start.
All right, well, let's get into the sits of the week.
Yeah.
And my sit of the week is Chris Herndon.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, that was too easy.
Low-hanging fruit, Perry.
Golfer, you teed it up. Okay, anyways. No, my sit of the week, I've got 2 of them. And so my first sit of the week is Duke Johnson, running back for the Houston Texans. Duke Johnson, a lot of hype was surrounded around Duke Johnson last week against Cleveland. David Johnson is on IR. Duke Johnson got the bulk of the work. He had 14 carries for a whopping 54 yards. Did not find the end zone. Had 1 target, no receptions. He's got New England this week. And New England is a tough matchup. They're still very good on defense. I know a lot of people think New England is defense is far worse than last season. It really isn't. It's still a very strong defense. I'm avoiding the Duke Johnson game. I don't want to do it. I recommend that anybody that went out and picked up Duke Johnson, just go ahead and keep him on your bench. If he blows up, maybe trade him away, trade deadlines are probably past now. So yeah, I'm not interested in it at all. I'm avoiding it.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all for that. I actually have, I did manage to get sit of the week. So I got 2 sits, but they're on the same team. and play the same position. Uh, and that's
Taysom, Jameis Winston.
no, in your quarter as a quarterback, yes. Uh,
Oh
but no, this one's gonna hurt a little, Perry. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsey.
no, that is appropriate.
Yeah,
That is, yeah. No, I live in reality. Don't worry.
yeah, I know. I just know as a Bronco fan, it's never good. I know as a 49er fan this feeling. But yeah, Melvin Gordon last week 11 carries, 46 yards against the Raiders. Philip Lindsey had 4 carries for 2 yards. And they're going against Miami, who the last couple weeks their defense has been phenomenal. So I am not expecting either one of them to be startable caliber running back this week, which it's upsetting. Even with volume, I don't think Melvin Gordon will be running back 2 this week. So
No, it's a good call. Okay, my last sit of the week is DJ Chark. With Luton out there, DJ Chark hasn't been all that affected. Affected. He stayed pretty much where he's been all season, where it's kind of like pretty bad games and then one big blow up game. He did that in week 9, where he had the 28-point game. Last week, he had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 56 yards. Pretty bad game. A lot of people might think, well, he's just getting used to Luton or whatever. Luton has looked okay. Luton has Pittsburgh this week. His first 2 games were Houston and Green Bay. Not anything to be feared. Definitely. Justin just talked about Houston.
yeah,
Pittsburgh is going to put a serious hurting on Luton this week, and I don't think there's going to be even any time for DJ Chark to get involved here. I'm expecting a lot of sacks this game and at least 1 lost fumble from Luton. So I don't really want any part of this offense. Unfortunately, James Robinson has to be started in most leagues, so I understand that. But apart from him, I would avoid this entire offense completely. Yeah, Pittsburgh is nasty for sure.
yeah. I like it. Let's talk about our game of the week, Perry.
Game of the week.
Yeah.
You have one in mind?
There's 2 that I really like coming up. But the one I'm most excited about is Green Bay versus the Colts.
Ooh, nice.
Because Aaron Rodgers has been playing phenomenal. And then the Colts defense has also been playing phenomenal. So I'm interested to see which one of those 2, we joke about it a lot, me and you, about how when you have 2 really good quarterbacks playing in a game, people always like to be like, for example, if it was Tom Brady versus Mahomes, people be like, it's Tom Brady versus Mahomes, even though they're never on the field at the same time. So that's why I like this, is because it's Aaron Rodgers and that offense versus the Colts defense. We're going to get to see those 2 strong suits against each other.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good one. I have 2 games of the week. One is like my NFL game of the week, and one is my fantasy output game of the week. My fantasy output game of the week is the Falcons versus the Saints. I know the Saints defense is pretty decent, but they're missing quite a few people to injury right now. And so I'm really looking forward to that game. I'm willing to start pretty much anybody in that game. The Taysom Hill experiment should be really fun to see how that works out. I think that Alvin Kamara is going to have a huge day. They're going to lean on him a lot. And Taysom Hill, I don't think is going to be bombing it down the field very much. I think there's going to be a lot of the same as Drew Brees with Michael Thomas, these just short slant routes. So, yeah, excited about that one. My NFL game of the week, the one that I think is going to be the most competitive, is actually the Monday Night Football game, the Rams Buccaneers game. I'm excited about this game. The Rams defense looks legit, at least in the last few weeks, and the Bucs defense is legit. We know that for sure. So, but the Bucks offense has looked very good. These are two good teams going at it.
You're excited for Jared Goff versus Tom Brady.
No. No, I'm not. Gross. But anyways, yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching that game. Do you have a defensive stream you want to throw out there real quick?
Real quick, so since you threw out both years, I'm going to talk about my second one real quick. That's the AFC rematch, AFC Championship rematch, the Titans versus the Baltimore Ravens. I think those teams are still set up pretty much the same as they were last year, with their strong defenses and predicated on running the ball. So I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens there, and if Derrick Henry can run like he did last season in that AFC Championship game. I don't think he will, but I think that's also going to be a very competitive game.
Yeah, I think the Titans' offense has gotten better, and I think the Ravens have stayed pretty much the same, except their offense has gotten significantly worse. Like, their defense has stayed the same.
Yeah.
So I think the Titans win that game, but I hope that it's very close. Defensive stream this week, I'm going to recommend the Chargers against the Jets.
Low-hanging fruit, Perry. Low-hanging fruit.
Hey, the Chargers are widely available.
Yeah, but obviously you pick whatever team the Jets are playing. Rule number 1.
How about this one? How about the Vikings versus the Cowboys?
Okay, I like that. See?
Right? Nobody's starting the Vikings.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Oh, the Fins against the Broncos.
Yeah, Fins up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's all about the fourth quarter for Denver, right? They're really, really bad, and then they're like, well, let's try to win this one.
That they pretty much approach every game like I did every high school assignment ever. Like, let's wait until the very last minute and see if we can win.
The answer was no.
Yeah, usually no, you can't. But every once in a while you do, and then you're like, see, you guys wasted all that time trying.
These guys are trying to teach me. I'll teach you. Right on. Well, I'm going to go eat some pistachio ice cream.
Nice. I'll be over shortly.
Nope.
Yeah, not physically possible.
Yeah, certainly not shortly.
All right. We'll see you guys after this week's games.
Yeah, please comment, subscribe.